Hello, you're listening to Always Learning with Kenneth Baucom. KennethBaucom.com. All right, and thank you so much for coming back. This is episode number 4 of my new podcast series, and I'm actually going to go ahead and start to break into the book now. So I just finished the audiobook version of Gretchen Rubin's New York Times bestseller, Better Than Before. What I learned about making and breaking habits to sleep more, quit sugar, procrastinate less, and generally build a happier life. This is a really, really great book. And even early on, right in the introduction, deciding not to decide, there's a really great sentence that just really stood out to me. So I took time to actually buy a paper copy of the book as well and actually highlight this. Talking about habits and how habits are made. It's really the whole premise of the book. Figuring out, how to make and break habits to get yourself to do what you want to be doing. And one of the great things here is she says that she discerned all of the various strategies that we can use to change a habit. And she finds that it's odd. Most discussions of habit change champion a single approach, as if one approach could work for everyone. Let that sink in for just a minute. Why do we have to be told this? Don't we already know that everybody is different? We're all unique. We all bring our own different styles and traits and behaviors to the table. Why would we think that a single approach could work for everyone? And certainly I'm not trying to critique her words here. I'm trying to just help point out the fact that in fact we're all different. We all need our own ways of approaching problems. And so I just really, that stood out to me, and I don't want to make it sound like it's, some super amazing thing. It's just one phrase out of an entire book. But I'd encourage you to pick up a copy of this book and read more. So breaking into chapter number 1, I love the introduction here. To shape our habits successfully, we must know ourselves. We can't presume that if a habit formation strategy works for one person, that it'll work just as well for anyone else, because people are very different from each other. This section covers 2 strategies that allow us to identify important aspects of our habit nature. And these are the key to this entire book and to so much of her life's work. These 2 strategies that allow us to identify important aspects of our habit nature are the 4 tendencies and distinctions. These observational strategies don't require that we change what we're doing. They only require that we learn to see ourselves accurately. I want to make sure I read this and quote her sentence correctly. These observational strategies don't require that we change what we're doing, only that we learn to see ourselves accurately. This podcast is brought to you by Kenneth Baucom Consulting, LLC. We've been called a jack of all trades, but we've never been considered master of none. From storyboarding to storytelling, we can create and manage your project from visionary to visualized. We bring the camera, you bring the idea. Together, we'll turn your thoughts into reality. So I want to add just one more thought before we leave today's podcast. Just a little tidbit. That's what each of these podcasts are going to be. Just little tidbits of information for you to just kind of chew on and mentally gnaw on throughout the day. Some food for thought. Our tendency colors the way we see the world and therefore has enormous consequences for our habits. Of course, these are tendencies. But I found, to a degree that surprises me, that most people do fall squarely into one camp. And once I identified the tendencies, I got a kick from hearing the people within a given tendency make the same kind of comments over and over. And so at this point in the book, Gretchen Rubin, in the book Better Than Before, starts to dig into the different tendencies, which she has labeled upholders, questioners, obligers, and rebels. And we'll talk more about those 4 tendencies and maybe apply them to some other thoughts and ideas as we move forward. And so I encourage you, as you go through this week, think about your own self-knowledge, your own awareness of yourself, and see yourself more accurately. Thanks so much for joining me, and I appreciate your time. Have a great day.